name's Tricia White. I have been consulting and doing so much with small businesses for probably the past, to myself, 30 years. I was in a family-owned business for 17 years, and when I got out of the family-owned business, I kind of got back into, I had always done marketing and sales and things like that, and that was what I did for the family business. But all of a sudden I was kind of doing more in the form of like community outreach and really working with a lot of small businesses. I ran a Chamber of Commerce for a number of years, moved on to do marketing with a bank, and then worked for the Mass Small Business Development Center for 8 years. During that time, which was really cool, they allowed me to kind of really move forward in marketing. When you work for agencies like the Mass Small Business Development Center, what they're looking for is loans. How many loans can you get? How much money can you get out to the small business community? That really wasn't my passion because I felt that, it's great when these businesses get loans, but they don't know how to market themselves, they can't grow. So they kind of pushed me more into, I really get into, I was teaching LinkedIn for a while, and then I'm like, do Facebook? I'm like, sure. And then I went to a Twitter conference, and then for a number of years I've gone to the inbound marketing, but I've done blogging, I've done every type of social media marketing possible. I've worked under Google for a while I worked for the Mass Small Business Development Center, but it's kind of brought me to this place, and that is, I'm really passionate about helping small businesses. Today I work for an entertainment company. I run all of their marketing, everything from the web all the way out to I design their marketing brochures, their messaging, and I just take care of all of that. But I also do business development for Harmon Bank. So I still have my hands in a lot of different places. As I was coming out of the MSBDC, I started teaching a course in branding. The reason why I did it was because for many years we used to tell small businesses, if you're small, let's make you look big. We'll put we on everything. You don't have to have your picture there. You can hide behind the logo. What was happening is as social media was really up and running, it became a little more serious in the form of can't hide behind that logo anymore. It was no longer about the business, it was really about the customer. And the customer was now taking control of everything that was going on. So now all of a sudden, you really need to look at your personal brand and say, oh my God, I need that to take me to the next level. So what I'm going to teach tonight is all these little tips that you can take away to help your personal brand. I'll say it a few times, but personal brand is ultimately what is going to drive your business brand. Can't get your personal brand up and running, it just makes it that much harder to get your business brand up and running because they really do go hand in hand. So why brand? First, 3 reasons. First is authenticity. So the consumer today wants to know who you are, what do you do? It becomes a know, like, trust. So they want to get to know you, like you, trust you before they're going to try anything that you have, which means, okay, maybe I'll join their Facebook account. Maybe I'll do email marketing and I'll get their email newsletter. Maybe I'll just go over to their website. I'll read some of their blog articles. Once you get to that point and you're trying some of the things that you have, then it becomes a buy situation. Then you can cross-promote what you're doing, and then you have that advocate. The advocate is the one that goes back out into the real world and goes, oh my God, they're absolutely great. But they have to be able to tell your story. And the more they can tell about your story and about you, the further you can take that product or service. The second thing is top of mind. We constantly have to be out there just kind of touching people in small ways all the time. Years ago when I taught marketing, it was always 7 times 7 different ways. And then it was 14 times 14 different ways. And today, it's as many touches as you can get because prior to them buying your product or service, they've probably been on your website, they've probably checked you out a number of different times, they've probably seen some of your messaging, but it's not until that point comes across where you're like, aha, oh my God, I need that product or service. But you've kind of been slowly being peppered with that information probably over 1, 2, maybe even 3 years. So it's one of those things that, you constantly want to be out there, even if it is in a small capacity. So it means being out there for your business or for your personal brand. The last thing is to become an authority. You want to become synonymous with your brand. And when you look at people like Steve Jobs, he was Apple. When you look at, is it Richard Branford, the one for Virgin Branson, thank you, for Virgin Airlines. He's another one. He is the brand. So what happens is they're really taking their personal life and bringing it into the business brand. And what happens is you have both sides of that talking. And if you followed social media for any period of time, some of the locals like Ann Hanley or CC Chapman or Chris Broglie, these people have always brought their personal side to their business brand, and they really become synonymous one with the other. So let's start with you and your personal brand. So the first thing is, I think as a person, we never sit back and go, okay, I have to think of myself as a brand. What we do is we tend to look at our business and go, okay, what is the business brand going to look like, and what are the things that we need to do? So a lot of times, you want to look at what is your name, what is your image, what are you looking like, how do you dress, how do you act, your online ID, how do people find you online, and what do they see when they do find you, your reputation. So do people go looking for you as a resource? Do they know that you're the person to go to when you need a certain product or service, when you need a recommendation? And then lastly, it's getting out and networking. And this, even though it's an educational opportunity, it's definitely a networking event. We're learning about each other, and we're going to take different pieces away from this event. So on that piece too, I had the sheets of paper that I gave you.
Oh, they're right behind you.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, by your computer.
Hold on.
I'm so sorry. I meant to hand this to her.
I don't normally give out, pass them around, a slideshow presentation because I basically will freestyle on different information that comes up. So that's just an outline of everything I'll go over tonight, so at least you can take it home and use it as a guide. So I think the first thing that you really have to do is you have to look at the situation and say, we all wear, especially as women, just listening to the stories tonight, think about all the hats that we're wearing. We're wearing a lot of hats, and for moms, we're wearing even more hats. But I think the first thing you have to figure out is, who are you, and what is it that you do? So, really sit back at some point and really, I think you have to look at those things on a personal level to say, who am I, and what is that brand that I want to represent as myself? I know it's going to eventually tie into my business brand, but who am I? And how does it fit? So secondly, how does it fit in with that brand you? Because one of the things that you'll follow, Gary Vee is a fellow, Damien Chuck is his name. He owns a company called The Wine Library. And he started it years and years ago. It's got to be at least 15, but I can remember finding him online. And I used to love it because they used to review all these different wines. So before they could stop you from having shipped into Massachusetts, I used to read all this stuff. I would pick out all these different bottles of wine and have a case sent to you. I thought it was so cool. But as years have gone on and he's become very big in social media marketing, one of the things that I love about him is his, that you brand, like he is so authentic. When you see some of his stuff, that's what you get. Gary will throw the F-bomb. Gary loves the New York Jets. Gary's passionate about so many different things, but that is his brand, and he lives by it, and I love that about him. It's not something, that's not my brand, but I admire the fact that that's his brand and people follow him, and that's what you get with Gary Vee. And I think sometimes that's what we have to do too, is feel comfortable in the skin we're in, and say, something? This is me, and I need to bring me into my brand. And I think sometimes you just kind of have to figure out, how does that fit? How do you move them back and forth? But ultimately, this is your brand. Your brand is what other people say about you when you're not in the room. So think about after you're leading events like this, how do people see me? How is it that they're following my brand? Did they understand what it is that I do? So that if someone asks later, and believe me, it's only the beginning right now, and this is just a touch. It's one of many. But it's making sure that every time you touch somebody, they're understanding what it is that you're doing. So developing you, so how do we put this into action? The first is a good headshot, And I know as women, we're always very critical about a headshot and have pictures taken. I know myself, I need to go out and have it done. The last time I had it done was probably 4 years ago. People will look at mine and they'll say, but it still looks good. But I need to get used to changing it up on a regular basis. So every 2 years, you should be having a nice headshot done. It doesn't have to be done by a professional. It can be taken by someone. It can be done outside. It can be inside. Just make sure it's good quality. And when you have that headshot, what you have to remember is that is your logo. That's the logo for you. We put the logos up for our business so that people will recognize what those are. But when you're having a nice headshot done, that should be used personal profiles across all of your networks. Use that same picture on your website, but make sure that it's something that when people see it, they go, ah, that's Tricia, ah, that's Jen, ah, that's Sue. You know, because we want to have that same type of top of mind recognition. Own it. So if you're somebody that's really passionate about doing something outside of what you normally do, there's nothing wrong with having a website that's about you. I always tell people when I first started doing a lot of the marketing for the MSBDC, I started blogging. I cook just like you do. I bake, I do all sorts of things. So I started a food blog because I wanted to do something and write about something I was passionate about. I still have the blog going. It's been going for 7 years now. I will say I've been really bad at having a blog since January. Even though I'm still cooking and doing things all the time, I need to find that quiet time to come here to sit down and write and make that a priority. I have to do
Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
I know. But I have, so I have my Friends Food Family, which is my food blog. I work for Fun Enterprises, so that's, I'm working their website. But I also have a TY Creations, and I use that as my marketing piece. If I'm not blogging there, I'll go back onto LinkedIn and I'll do blogging because I can write about, recipes and cooking. I can write about entertainment and how it can help enhance an event. But I didn't have that platform to write about marketing because even though it's something that I do, it wasn't the platforms that I was in. So if there is something that you're passionate about, own your name. Grab the domain and do something with it. Even if it just means setting up a one-pager that just talks a little bit about you. It's that one brand that you can add to, rather than just maybe a LinkedIn account. It's another way of people being able to find you. Right. And I try and get away from blog, because I know every time you say the word blog, people are like, but I think part of it is it's storytelling. What we need to hear is your story. How did you get where you were? What is it that you're passionate about? What drives you? Why is it you love these things? Because writing tells a story, and stories are what we read all the time. As much as I can say the word blog, people go, I'm not sure if I read blogs. But I always say, if you're reading Huffington Post, if you're reading CNN, if you're reading any newspapers, those are blogs, they're stories. So try and get out there and write your story. But when you're also writing your story, make sure you're telling it to people. One of the things I find when I meet with people who are trying to write books and stuff, they hide for 18 months. They go, I'm writing a book. They hide for 18 months. They don't show anything. And then all of a sudden when they jump out of the closet and go, I'm here. Everyone's like, yeah, who are you? Where have you been? So the thing is you always want to be sharing little snippets. So when you do decide to do something, you always have those people following you. And they're looking at you as someone to, you're an authority. You're telling that story. I go back to Anne Hanley. Anne Hanley, she does so many different things. She's written books, but follow just her blog. Her blog is just about her life, and it's funny and passionate moments in her life that still take into effect what she does for a living. Your executive summary. Add, the jobs that you do have. And if you're doing anything, if you're writing for them, or if you're doing photography, or you have anything you can add to to your LinkedIn profile, it's a great way to keep a portfolio going. Because today, LinkedIn isn't just for your resume. LinkedIn really is your professional portfolio. So start putting things there. In Facebook, I always tell people, if you don't know how to engage on your Facebook page, or your personal Facebook page, you're never going to be able to do it on a business level. So get used to putting your picture on, sharing some personal information, asking questions, and engaging. The last one on Twitter. Twitter is a great encyclopedia. I know that there are a lot of businesses that do not need to be on Twitter, but I think for personally, to have your picture up there, maybe to use your business handle, or maybe to use your personal handle, you can still share all sorts of information, but it's a great place to be able to pull good information, to also connect with people who are maybe moving and shaking in the same areas that you are. Be creative. There's Gary. I love him. Family first, but after that, businessman. Just a dude that loves the hustle, people, and the New York Jets. Tasted wine for years, the wine library. But, he tells it like it is. He has a great picture behind him. He uses the images to evoke emotion and pull you in. So when you're doing things, be creative. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with being different. Just just make sure that it follows in your personal brand. And if you follow Gary, that's him. He explains, that's the type of guy he is. And listen. I mean, I think those are one of the things that we go head forward, we're like, I gotta do this, I have to do that, but take time to breathe, and just kick back and listen. Listen sometimes to the feedback that you're hearing. I think as we get older, I think sometimes we sit back easier to listen to what we're doing. I think when we're younger, we're full speed ahead, this is the way we're going to do things because I know that this is the right way. But I've learned that, once I get back into my 40s, progressing into my 50s, it's definitely...
I'm already there,
things-
it's not that bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm halfway there.
But just to really sit back and listen to what people have to say and take it in. But, take the feedback, go back in and look at, is this good feedback or is it something that I'm missing? And honestly, be yourself, have some fun. You can't do any of this unless you have the attitude of, really wanting to share, participate, and have fun. So how do we build you? Let's do it one step at a time. So let's start with number one, make it a goal to get out and network. And this is a great place to be able to start, especially if you're not someone that likes to go to these loud networking events where everybody's kind of standing around, passing around business cards, and you come out of it going, not the target audience I'm really looking for. Nice people, but can't figure out yet how I'm going to be able to collaborate and things like that. So I always say, try and get out at least once a month, meet up with a number of people, do some form of networking event. And a networking event can be an educational training. Meet up with 3 or 4 people, ask somebody to go for coffee, but make an effort to get out there on a regular basis. Brand yourself behind your computer screen doesn't work forever. You still have to go out and meet up with people and be able to exchange business cards. Because business cards have a shelf life of about 24 hours. So if you can't figure out what to do with a business card at the end of 24 hours, then you probably put it in a drawer somewhere, and 6 months from now you're going to pick it up and go, I have absolutely no idea how I met that person. So by going back home and using your networks, now you have the opportunity to say, okay, I've got this business card. Let's see if we can connect on LinkedIn, because LinkedIn is your Rolodex online. That's where you're going to keep all your business people. So connect with them there. If you think it's something that you want to connect with them on Facebook, you can. But if you don't, connect with their business page. Follow them on Twitter. Find a Pinterest board maybe that they have, or follow them on Instagram. But look at how can I be watching what this person does, because I find them interesting. And for right now, I don't mind following them. And if at some point you don't find that it's getting you where you want to be, there's nothing wrong with unfollow, unfriend, disconnect. Be a thought leader. And one of the greatest places you can do that is on LinkedIn. LinkedIn gives you the opportunity to actually post blog articles, but they want them to be original material. So if it's information that you're posting on your blog and you're just kind of scraping it, cutting and pasting it, and putting it on LinkedIn, LinkedIn will see that, and what will happen is they'll just kind of sit it on their shelf. What you want to do when you're writing out in business capacity, you want them to be sending it out to a lot of people on LinkedIn. So when it's original, when you find that it's information that can help people, they're going to take it in. So think about periodically writing that one good piece on LinkedIn. And that's what I did for a period of time. Like I said, I can write recipes and I can write all about entertainment, but I'm passionate about marketing. So I probably wrote 13 or 14 articles that still sit out on LinkedIn. They do pretty well. I haven't done anything in a year, but once again, it's that thing that I want to do again. This is like bringing me back to everything I want to do, so it's wonderful that I'm here. Look at recommendations. Recommendations on your LinkedIn profile are going to tell people that you're good at what you do. So at least 2 times a year, after you've been working with somebody, connect with them. If you're not already connected to them on LinkedIn, connect with them on LinkedIn. And then write a little story. Hey, I really enjoyed working with you, and some of the things that we completed together with this, and this. I was wondering if you could send me, give me a recommendation. And when people go down your account and they're looking at the jobs that you hold and the recommendations you have, it's like going on Amazon and buying a product. Hey, what are people saying about that product or service? So use this as your professional place to ask for recommendations. also ask for endorsements, so you don't even have to ask for endorsements. If you go onto LinkedIn and you start giving a few endorsements, what will happen is endorsements will come back to you.
They will come from people you don't even know.
No,
Right.
exactly.
And you're like, who is that? And why are they endorsing?
And it's a great thing to use because endorsements are one of those things that you can bring it to the top of your account or to the bottom. So because of LinkedIn's drop and drag system, if right now you don't have a lot of endorsements and you're like, oh, that's not something I want people to see, don't shut it off. Because once you shut it off, it's off for good. So what you want to do is just take it to the bottom of your page. People can still give you endorsements because LinkedIn is constantly kind of touching people to say, do you think Trisha's good at this? Do you think Sue is good at this? Do you think Kelly's good at this? So they're always going to ask you for endorsements for different people. But now thinking of it from the point of view of where all of you are, is if you're looking for more work or you're looking for something in a different industry, you have a lot of endorsements, and now you can take them and put them up at the top of your page. So as people start to see your profile, they see the executive summary, wow, now they're going to see all the endorsements. Endorsements with recommendations that back them up. Now you're getting 5 stars, 5-star reviews for your personal profile. And some of the things you may want to look at right now, which people really like, is, what about vlogging? If you're not someone who really wants to write, are you comfortable sitting in front of your computer screen for a few minutes and just saying, hey, here's just my Tuesday update, kind of getting a few programs together, interview some people, set up a YouTube channel, podcasting. And right now, everything is live. So whether it's Periscope, you can do some stuff on Snapchat, Instagram now you can use the videos. Did I say Periscope? Periscope? Oh, Facebook Live. So Facebook Live is the newest one to come onto this, but it's great ways to be able to talk to people. And a girlfriend of mine's daughter-in-law started doing some selling job. She in 1 year went from, I'm just selling a little bit of jewelry, to be like in the 3% of the top sellers. So she was running this program the other day, and she won a trip. And she was so grateful to everybody. She went on Facebook Live and did this amazing little 5-minute piece, and she was like, I just want to thank my friends and family. You don't realize when I got married, we didn't take a honeymoon, and Abel and I are now going to go take a honeymoon. And I'm like, oh my God, this was amazing. But it was just that quick snippet that you were able to see in those first 24 hours, but it was live, it was on your feed. But think of how that, she sells Stellar & Dot, but that was her personal brand. That was Lindsay's personal brand, getting on there and thanking you. And speaking engagements, anytime you get out and speak to, even if it's just a small group of people, they get to see the experience and the knowledge that you have. Connecting you. Okay? So engaging and participating. And this is one thing that I always try and bring back around again, especially in a Facebook scenario. You have to be part of the conversation, because today on Facebook, whether it's on your business page or your personal page, Facebook has an algorithm, and on your personal page what they basically say is, we're going to show you 150 of your closest friends. You may have more than 150, but you're only going to see a selected group of people on a regular basis, usually within like 24 hours. You're going to see people that you engage with on a regular basis. You're going to see people that you haven't seen in a long time, and you're also going to see different profiles that are going to come up just because they have a lot of engagement. If you're not putting things out there, what's going to happen is when you do decide to say something, Facebook's going to say, where's she been? She doesn't engage with anyone, she doesn't like anything, she doesn't comment on anything, she doesn't share anything. That's a habit you need to get into, because if you're not doing that on a personal level, you're never going to find that comfort in a business level. And if they're going hand in hand, you've got to feel comfortable doing that. So get used to engaging with people. So participate in conversation that you see come up, but also start conversation yourself. I'm always looking to start conversation on my personal page, trying to get at least 25 to 30 likes and a number of comments. So think about your visual questions, anything like that. You want to make sure that you're engaging and participating. And give feedback. So when you do see different things, whether it's a blog article or maybe someone's written something on LinkedIn, or maybe someone's asked your opinion on something, people want feedback, people want comments. Because sometimes you don't know how good our product or service is. I do a lot of advertising for Fun Enterprises on both Facebook and Instagram. Problem is on Instagram, everybody likes things, no one comments. So you sit there going, okay, everyone's liked it, and that's nice that they like it, but I also know how easy it is to flip through your phone and go, like. So if you really like something, stop for a minute and give somebody feedback. That picture is gorgeous. I love doing this. Oh, you went apple picking this weekend. We're heading up, can you make a recommendation? But try to give some form of feedback or, not necessarily a recommendation, but some form of participation where people can look at things and say, it was better than just 75 likes. It was 75 likes and 3 comments. Those are the comments. Those are the things you're looking for. And connect the dots. So I love this because if you throw a party and you don't tell anyone about it, don't be surprised when no one shows up. And I think that's what you have to remember when you're personally branding yourself is that, you can't be hiding, on social networks and just looking at them, well, I go in every day and I kind of look, I know what's going on, but I don't participate. But the whole thing is, it was like what I was saying, when people are writing books, what do? They hide for 18 months, and then all of a sudden they show up. Don't be surprised when nobody's at a party. When they missed you for a period of time, and then when you come back out again, they may not see you. So the other you is your business brand. That's one thing I'm not going to step into tonight. That's a topic for another night. But I think what you have to remember is all the things that I'm telling you in a personal brand scenario really feed back into that business brand scenario of making sure you have a good logo, making sure you have your business pages in place, making sure that you're participating in that you're posting, making sure that your end result is getting people to your website. So, it's like anything else. The end result to your personal brand is someone commenting, someone making a comment, someone connecting with you in a personal sense. So blending you. So how are we going to get your brands to work together? So what I want to do just real quick is just show you, we know this, there is no professional or personal anymore. It's simply your brand. Things do affect your brand, and it's up to you to determine whether your brand is affected positively or negatively. That's it. Anyone who tells you otherwise is wrong. And I think that's where we've come today, is that, really, it's your professional and your personal brands have now collided. And I like using this picture because that's my boss, Ken, and he runs the sales team for Fun Enterprises. So I use my picture and I run my personal brand for a lot of it, runs through Friends Food Family. But the thing is that we both take our personal brands and we make sure that we're sharing things on a regular basis. So it would be very easy for me to just be sharing things from Fun, and I can ask the staff, could you please share things? But some of the staff don't really have personal brands, they don't know where to share things. But my boss does. So he always makes sure that if something comes out from Fun and it's appropriate for his group, then he's making sure that he's sharing it on his personal brand pages. So these are the things that you want to make sure that you can do without really repeating yourself too often, but at least making sure that there's a partnership there, that when you're bringing, work stuff onto your personal brand, that it matches, or that it's appropriate, and the same on the other side. So lead by doing. So the best thing that you can do is you can be sharing things, you can be tweeting. I always say lead by example or lead by doing, because if you're not sharing things and you're not out on social media, you can't expect other people to do it. And I was speaking last night, I was telling the group how Twitter is a very odd, it's hard to figure out. Sometimes businesses just really don't need it. But the nice part to it is that if you have certain people that you know, if you go over to their account and you just run through it, you share a few things, they're going to come right back and they're going to share a few of your things. And the nice thing is I don't have to ask them, will you share this? I just know, all right, I have a certain thing, I'm going to go to this one's account, this one's account, and this one's account, because I know if I run over there real quick and I share some of their stuff, they're going to come back and they're going to share it online. So it goes back to that whole piece on, people are going to do what you do. The more you're out there doing it, the more participation you're going to get. Tag things with an @ sign or a hashtag. @ sign is going to pull people in through their handle. So if you're running a business page or anything like that, if you tag people, in certain ways, what it's going to do is it's also going to tell them that you're talking about them. So
What does that mean?
So what happens is, like on this one, I know you can't see it too much, but I wrote on it, heading to NACA 2015. So NACA is a big conference that we go to that's done by colleges. So I know at the NACA, that's their handle on their Twitter account.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So
So
then
you're
I put that
including your
on.
Twitter
Yeah.
account on
I
it.
put it, so I'm on Twitter, I include their Twitter account, and then I included my boss's name, I included an article that we wrote along with the hashtag that they were using for the conference.
So what's the pound sign do then?
So the pound sign is a hashtag, and what we do is when we're using Twitter, when we're using Instagram, I would say Google Plus, we use it a bit. Facebook, we really don't use it often, but what a hashtag does is basically gives you the opportunity to show up in another file or another stream. So what happens is when we put things out on Twitter, it goes in one feed, and that's normally the feed of all the people who are following you. If you want to put it in additional feeds or in additional places, if you give it a hashtag, what it does is it takes it and puts it in another feed. So if you run the hashtag, if you ran hashtag, right now we're in NACA 2015, but if we did hashtag NACA 2015, you would get this feed of all these people that use that hashtag that were talking about the conference.
So it's the same value you put after, but you put the ad, you're just linking. If you put the hashtag, you become part of the other stream.
Yep, the hashtag will bring you to the stream. The @ sign will contact the person on Twitter to say, someone has spoken about you. And then you have the opportunity at that point to share what they're doing or increase comment on it. Okay. But I always say, thank you, Bob. If you're gonna post something, why not tie a number of people into it? Because then, once again, I'm participating, and someone's gonna see something, oh, they shared something of ours, I'm gonna go back in and share something. Or I'm gonna go in and like it and comment on it, so that, they know that I've seen it. And collaborate. You can collaborate almost in any capacity, whether it's sitting here, talking, or sitting down and saying, we have some things in common. I'll write a blog article for you, if you'll write one for me, and then what we can do is we can share it on our different networks. We can have, one of the things that I did, I'm going to move it to the next slide because it's about tribes. For 5 or 6 years, Sue and I actually were part of what we call the tribe. And there were 8 of us that all worked in marketing. And what we tried to do was basically vet everyone before they came into the group. So part of the vetting was, do you have a blog? Do you blog? Do you have a business Facebook account? Are you a lifelong learner? We had all of these things, and all 8 of us fit into that category. So what we said is, let's share information on a regular basis. So we set up the Facebook groups page, and we became a tribe within the group. The group was locked, so no one could see the information. But all of us worked in different capacities. So we had a life coach, we had social media marketing, we had a real estate owner, we had a wedding photographer, we had the president of an insurance company, Tammy, who was working with me at the time, but she's now she's the dean for Cape Cod Community College outreach programs. But we had some really powerful women. And anytime we had a blog post or we had a Twitter or anything like that, we would share it in the group. And we didn't all go out and share it at the time. What we did was we looked at, okay, what did that post do? Is it something I could share on Twitter? Sure, I'm going to share it on Twitter. Is it something I could share on my Friends Food Family page? No, but I could take it and pin it. Or I could share it on my personal Facebook page. But now what we were doing is we were really collaborating to say, how can we help each other without feeling that, it's never a scenario where you sit around going, I'm going to post everything that you have. Because you have to look at your audiences and say, who needs this information? Who's going to be able to really use it as a resource? And I want to also make sure that I'm not pushing out information or sharing information with my group that it's not information they're looking for. So, it was a really nice group. The only reason why we disbanded, and that's probably been over the past, I'd say probably 9 months, a year, is just because all of us have actually taken new jobs and we're in it in different capacities, and we just haven't been able to pull the group together again. But I still know that if I put out a tweet on Friday and I include everybody in that tweet, I I know that they will all respond, we will have conversation, because we're still a tribe. You know, we may not be there in group anymore, but we still lean on each other because we're lifelong learners, and we know that these women professionally, their personal brands are amazing as well as their business brands. Any questions?